Miraculous is back. Call me your excitement. I was famously not happy about the ending of season 5. I like the Paris special, but that's set long before the finale and has no effects on my thoughts on it. So I thought it'd be interesting to check out the London special. Will I like it or will I hate it? I'll definitely spoil the whole thing if you haven't watched it yet.
Like any other akumatized villain, once you transform back, you'll forget everything you've seen, including the things you wrote in that notebook.
Wow, starting off with what might be the most blatant retcon in the show's history is not promising. Akumatized villains remember if they willingly become akumatized or undo their akumatization themselves. The most obvious immediate example that comes to my mind is Natalie remembering everything after detransforming from Catalyst during the Heroes Day 2-parter in Season 2. Then there's Gabriel briefly akumatizing himself into the Collector in Dearest Family in Season 4. Hell, in the special that is the last thing this show made before this one of the last scenes is Ladybug remembering everything after being akumatized or whatever he called it by Betterfly. Or would they say that doesn't count because he's a good guy? Lila knows from experience that this isn't true. By the way, I will continue to refer to her as Lila. The entire plot and Lila not winning in the end hinges on us believing this blatant retcon that she needs to write Ladybug's identity down and we'll read it later. The Miraculous are all overpowered to the point where the only reason the characters just don't win instantly is just bad writing. If you think this is a small thing, A, the entire special's plot is built around this, and B, this is a terrible omen for how season 6 will be written. We fans have complained quite a bit about Gabriel being stupid, but I might just prefer him not thinking of obvious solutions over the story bending over backwards to keep him from winning when he does. It happens really often in season 5, and now Lila is that problem in its final form. She's so smart that her first plan required the writers to change the rules immediately. You know, I think it's good that the thing that makes me angriest in the entire special is right in the beginning. Makes everything else seem tame in comparison. The next time someone tells me I shouldn't take this show that seriously, I'm going to remind them that the main villain abused his son, killed himself, and got the main heroine to lie to the world about it. Alright. Let's inject some positivity. I love Lila's villain outfits. Sleek, practical, menacing, and designed to not give away that she's a girl. A+. Then we get to see Alex chilling with her future selves because she's going to live in this void for the rest of her life, and wait. Jalil! Her brother who was mad about her leaving forever. He also remembered what happened after he was akumatized. The rabbit hole just goes deep. Anyway, this is setting up the big catastrophe of the special. But first, a recap of the show is so long and so thorough, I wonder how many people who've never watched the show they expect to actually watch the special first. Or is this just a nostalgia trip for fans?
This time more than ever, Ladybug, we thank you.
And some fans wonder why other fans refer to this as the Ladybug show. Someone is consistently forgetting Chat exists, and it's either the writers or the entire population of Paris. Pick one. Yes, he actually wasn't involved this time, but they don't know that. The whole beginning sequence reminds me of how mad the finale made me. Marinette fucking up and trusting Gabriel, Gabriel winning and killing himself and then manipulating Marinette to lie to his son and the entire world. The fact she actually agreed to do it. And don't let this show gaslight you into thinking she didn't abjectly lose. She absolutely did. I am still not a big fan of the whole Ladybug letting the villain stay hidden because it'll hurt Adrien's feelings subplot. Now, I will say something that I imagine several other critics have forgotten. The show did write in an explanation for Marinette's actions, beyond the whole she's a teenage girl thing, in that she was given a nightmare of Adrien hating her for killing his dad when Hawkmoth did his whole put the whole world into pure anxiety plan at the end of season 5. It exists specifically to excuse this because it actually makes no sense that that was the nightmare she got and that it didn't stop her from fighting Gabriel during that finale. But it is the explanation for why she's more willing to lie to Adrien right now. If you do like this plot point, that's fine. I don't hate it because Marinette lied. I mean, I do a little. I think the show has made it pretty clear we're not supposed to agree with her. I mean, look at the angles of this scene. Does this look like the hero coming to the correct conclusion? What I really hate is how the show is further infantilizing Adrien. And as Marinette has been infantilizing Chat herself, she's just been complicit in this since before now. And after the blatant retcons and attempts at emotional manipulation and derision, I just don't have the ability to be charitable with this show's attempts to justify its plot points. Especially with Kagami and Felix going along with it.
Everyone can change. My mother as well.
This show doesn't believe that and you know it. Well, I guess unless you're And it'd be one thing if she just didn't say he was Hawkmoth. Why tell him Gabe was a hero and that Hawkmoth was threatening to hurt him in order to blackmail his dad? This is worse than I expected. She's actually justifying Gabe's abuse. I mean, all this will result in is Adrien getting angry at himself for being angry at his dad for being an objectively terrible father. Also, this whole White Room prison thing is so fucking psycho. Times he tried to be a good dad, my ass. The in-universe point of this room was to keep them from being affected by Monarch's final plan, as if they've ever given a shit before, but it didn't. They still got nightmares in season 5. All it really accomplished was, well, not letting Adrien be a part of the final plot. But here's the thing, almost any other show that hadn't spent so long disappointing me in how it concluded its plot points would be getting more faith from me, because I'd be more confident they would be able to resolve this properly. Like, I can see all of this that I've been talking about so far being resolved in an amazing story. This is honestly a great setup with the show taking further advantage of how it's handled the secret identities and the honestly uneven relationship between the main characters. Marinette is taking advantage of how much everyone trusts her to lie to them, and any holes in the stories are just plugged up by the unwavering faith people are portrayed to have in Ladybug. I just don't think the ending will be any less disappointing than season 5's was. I would definitely enjoy being wrong though. All my problems with the writing aside, I really love these scenes. The directing, Ladybug's emotions, the acting, Ladybug destroying all the evidence spliced with her lying to everyone, it's great. And then the universe ends. Because of course it does. I like the use of going back to when Marinette first renounced the Miraculous to pick up some spares so she would be able to continue fighting even though she just lost them. Except for all the many questions that it raises. Like at this point, Tiki is such a big well of information that it's baffling. This show will take absolutely any opportunity to redesign Ladybug. Check out my video on the villain designs, by the way. The actual adventure to take on Lila, who has both acclimatized herself into an intangible villain and a time traveler, is actually pretty fun. A bit slow to make sure the audience is following, but once it kicks in a high gear, it does almost everything right. Also, not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of the whole don't cheat rule established to nerf Bunnix, because being in the borough should make this so much easier for them. Just go back and figure out who it is. It lets the show pick and choose what they can and can't do. So they can plan to go back and keep Lila from finding out who Ladybug is, but they can't just stop Ladybug from losing the Butterfly Miraculous in the first place. Bunnix can go back and stop Lila's wish, but she's made no effort to stop Gabe's from happening, even though we've been told definitively time and time again that any wish would be a bad thing. This show is only getting worse at time travel. They go back to the battle against Hawkmoth, and it turns out Ladybug taking off her costume wasn't just stupid because it let Gabriel beat her, it also revealed her identity to Lila. And I really find myself asking, exactly how much of this special is reused animation? I mean, I get it's time travel, but did we have to rewatch Gabriel's death? Why did his wife float out of the coffin? Was Gimme just feeling dramatic? Her corpse disappeared along with Gabriel's body. I do appreciate being able to think Lila's clever without having to accept that everyone else has become too dumb to live. Her watch gambit was pretty good. I like the whole investigative angle, even if it's a bit slow. And Ladybug stealthily trying to take the villain down without alerting anyone of anything, with Bunnix's portals to help, makes for an interesting episode at the very least. Though by the end I find myself wondering how Bug Noir and Kagami couldn't hear what was happening. And her final solution was actually pretty brilliant, using the flexibility of time travel and her deduction of the villain's methods to defeat them. And we're still going to have to revisit the Adrien thing.
Lying to him or telling him the truth will lead to very different consequences.
Yeah, no shit, but one is clearly more wrong than the other. Frankly, I think these characters are all being written like this because if any of them says no, you're making a terrible decision, Ladybug might actually back out of this terrible decision. You know, if she hasn't already dug herself in way too deep. Her big excuse is that Adrien needs a mother figure so Natalie can't go to prison. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have an aunt who doesn't have a history of aiding and abetting terrorism. Actually, no, Felix exists. He really doesn't have an aunt who doesn't have a history of aiding and abetting terrorism. But you know what? Marinette doesn't seem to have a problem with him anymore, so why not? Is it because he might have to move to London? You and Kagami can long distance double date. Also, the gorilla wasn't a villain, and even though I think it'd be incredibly dumb if he became Adrien's guardian, the show is 100% not above that. Also, Marinette seems to be gaslighting herself into thinking what Gabriel did makes him a good person or a good father. Stop it. Get some help. He was not. So, Tiki is aware of what happens while she's in the suit. Unless the Miraculous Ladybug wiped her memory this time, which goes against everything that's been established in the show, and also they pretty much heavily imply that she did know what was about to happen. So you mean to tell me she spent basically the entire show well aware that Gabriel Agreste is Hawkmoth? I'm not gonna go through the whole show to check, but I'm 100% confident that that's extremely inconsistent with everything we've seen, even if we accept that she's just not allowed to tell anyone about it.
But I can't lie to Marinette.
Who said anything about lying? I'm just asking you to smile and nod.
Are you trying to pull one over on me, Plag?
Oh, Sugar Cube, tell her. She can trust me, can't she?
I still don't like the idea of permanently giving the Miraculous back to their holders for reasons I've already made clear. And because now she knows Tsurugi knows everyone's identities, including Kagami. You'd think she'd have learned her lesson about trusting her enemies after all this. Also, wait, how did Lila get the butterfly Miraculous? And why didn't Ladybug jump into the water to get it? Did she talk to Natalie, go get the Kwame, go to London, come back and then see it wasn't there? I'd say she looked for it between getting the Kwame and going to London, but there is no way in hell she'd have missed it, especially with the other Miraculous to help her look for it. I mean, think about all the abilities she would have had access to. The only way she would not have been able to get the butterfly Miraculous as soon as she wanted it would be if she just didn't try. Which raises another question of how did Lila get it? Oh wait, Thomas Astroke apparently answered this one. And I quote Google Translate, "Who cares, right? She went down, caught it in the water, that's all. It's not very interesting to show it." You know, I'm starting to see why this show is like this. Why was this called Miraculous World London? London is barely a factor the way Shanghai, New York, and even Paris were. I think they may be starting to regret the trend of naming the specials after cities. Wait, is that why they sent Adrien to London? On top of making sure he couldn't help with the season 5 finale? So that they could name this special after London? The new animation style looks interesting, but this change is gonna make things harder for my second channel. So, did I enjoy the special? Kind of. Until I realized it was built on Redcon, which is unfortunate because I actually like the meat and potatoes of the story. But this has pretty much just destroyed my faith in the writing of season 6 if this was going to be an introduction to it. I expect to enjoy Lila be the antagonist because she was the best part of this special, but now I also expect to like it less when I sit back to think about it because the writers have finally stopped protecting Lila with plot armor and have turned around and given that plot armor to Marinette. One thing the show really knows how to do is hit you right in the feels. Between Marinette's turmoil, Adrien's grief and hatred, and the portrayal of all their emotions, it's all done so well and effectively. Alex is just never going home, huh? This special is a real who's who of all my previous complaints with this show, and Ladybug just making it so our friend just can never go back to live her normal life is just, I guess it's just something we're gonna gloss over because it's fun for her. This is the part of the video where I say it's unfortunate but understandable that Chat Noir wasn't that involved, and I hope to see him be more relevant in season 6. But I'd be lying, I don't have hope. Thomas said something about Adrien being less important because of executive decisions above him. I kinda believe him, but all that tells me is that nothing is ever going to change. I want to be wrong, but I don't think I am. Now I'm picturing Thomas and a nameless executive getting into a fist fight over how much Adrien gets to have focus when the truth eventually comes out. Divorced from my learned instincts that the show will absolutely fumble, I do like the lying to everyone as a setup for a plotline even more than I liked all the other setups that proceeded to be disappointing in retrospect in previous seasons. Please, Miraculous, stop doing time travel. You inexplicably handled the multiverse just so much better. So, how likely do you think it is that this whole thing from the end of season 5 will actually be acknowledged in the future? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below, and also hit the like button and subscribe for more content if you enjoyed listening to me kind of lose my mind a bit. Thank you and good day.